Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where I'm going to be talking about mainly City, not going to lie. So if you're not a City fan or don't want to hear anything about City, probably not the best place for you. But if you're here, you like football, you like Manchester City, come and have a listen. I'm going to talk about just anything really, anything City related going forward. But today there's been a few big rumblings in the kind of transfer market, ins and outs and stayings. So I thought I'd just kind of roughly cover them all and just give my opinion on it really. Might as well start with the outgoings. Aymeric Laporte, it's been kind of rumoured over the window that he was going to leave. It looked like he was going to leave before the window even opened, and I'm very surprised that it's going to Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to lie, especially for the fee. I could have seen plenty of European sides come in for him, even Premier League sides. Like, he would have done a job for any team in Europe, challenging for European competition, like Real Madrid, for instance. Militao's out for however long, got his ACL surgery done. Aymeric Laporte, 25 million euros would have been perfect backup, really. So I'm just quite surprised he's going to Saudi Arabia. I can't really understand why nobody really came in for him at that kind of 25-30 million euro mark. Would have been an absolute steal for anyone. But anyway, he is going. He's off to Saudi Arabia, and yeah, it's a little bit sad because Aymeric Laporte, when he came in, his first season, people were saying that he's, like Van Dijk. Obviously, he didn't get to the levels of Van Dijk, but he came in at Van Dijk's pomp, at his kind of peak powers, and was at least challenging him as the second best centre-back in the league, or at least was being regarded to as the second best centre-back in the league, and was outstanding. He's never really played badly for us. It's just a case of Ruben Diaz coming in and having a better relationship with John Stones. Ake kind of filling in that vacant left wing back, kind of inverted left wing back, whatever you want to call it, that left-sided defensive role, a bit better than Laporte could, which is a shame because, as I said, he was never really bad for us. He was just, there are better players who could do Pep's job better than him in those positions. So yeah, it kind of adds to why it was so surprising that he didn't get a move somewhere in Europe, because he never really played badly. He was even good in attack. I mean, the amount of headers he scored, well, I can remember a fair few in important games as well. You can maybe argue the wages are going to be very hefty over there, and you can never really begrudge someone for kind of choosing their family or choosing, higher wages as a reason for moving club. Because when you think about it, football is a game. It's for some people it's a job. So putting their family first, putting their kind of financial security first, generational wealth, whatever you want to call it, first, you can't really begrudge them. Especially coming off a treble season. Looking like he's not going to play much more football under Pep. It makes sense for him to leave. As I said, it's just a bit of a shame that nobody in the kind of upper echelons of European competition really went in for him. That's all you can really say, really, apart from good luck, thank you for your contribution, Manchester City. I've only got good memories of him, and I hope he can achieve in some way in the future, whether that be in Saudi Arabia or back in Europe or internationally. Next quick one we're going to go through is Bernardo Silva. Obviously signed a contract extension today until 2026, which I'm quite surprised about considering the start of the window, considering the start of last summer window as well. The fact that Barcelona were in for him last year, or at least trying to usher him in. It looked like he was going to go, or at least wanted to go. PSG this time, looking like they were, I wouldn't say in for him in as solid as it was for Barcelona, but they were definitely interested, and they made it clear a few days ago, or at least a week ago, that they were kind of going to stop their pursuit of Bernardo Silva because it was pointless, and the fact that we looked like we'd nailed him down for another season. I'm very surprised about the contract extension, I'm not going to lie. I thought he would see out his contract, but very happy that he's signed it. Looks like he's going to stay, especially with Mahrez going. That kind of right wing slot would be massive issue if both of those players went. He's been a phenomenal player for us, always has been really under the Pep, one of the best I would say under the Pep era of Manchester City. Dominated that right side, just the energy in the man is incredible. We do need some cover for him, whether that be in the likes of Alvarez, Foden coming out there, because I don't want to run him into the ground. We already know how much of a season he can play and how much in a game he can actually play and how much he runs. And I don't want to see him be absolutely kind of pushed into the ground under Pep this season. I don't want to ruin him as a player, so I would like to see some form of backup for him and some decent rotation. We obviously got Cole Palmer, but there's been some links away. I do think if we get decent money for Cole Palmer, we'll let him go, because as good as he is, as good as he looks like he could be, I haven't quite seen that spark of kind of Manchester City first team quality, and I would love to be proved wrong about that. But yeah, Bernardo Silva, I mean, absolutely over the moon he stayed. As I said, surprised. I can imagine that we're going to have another saga next summer or next January, or January coming, I should say. Some club is going to want him because he is such a phenomenal player and he just puts everything out there on the field. He's made it quite clear that he wants some form of different challenge, which does make it surprising that he signed this contract extension this summer, considering he's just completed the treble. Seems like a natural time for moves similar to Laporte. But Bernardo Silva's saying until 2026 apparently, or we're just going to get more money for him in January or next year. And now we come to the meat and potatoes of the video. The incomings, Eberechi Eze and Matheus Nunes have been linked to us quite heavily today. And I wouldn't say torn, but I've got, probably a slight different opinion to some people. I've seen people saying, who would you rather in the club, Eze or Nunes? I've seen some people completely back Nunes. I've seen some people completely back Eze. I think for me, it depends on what they're going to be used for. I think that Eze, as much as beginning of the window, I really kind of was looking at him, admittedly, because other people had pointed me in that direction. There was quite a few videos and kind of scout reports on him saying how much of a good fit he would be for Gundogan, as a Gundogan replacement, how he profiles quite similarly statistically last season anyway. And I would have been absolutely over the moon if we got him in early doors. Obviously completely happy with Kovacic in that kind of 8 role, but when I saw the links, I saw the videos, I saw these people talk about how much of a sensible signing it would be, I was very excited at the time. So being linked to him again, or being linked to him actually solidly, does excite me quite a bit. But to be fair, it would be quite greedy to get him, I think, especially because he's more an attacking midfielder. He is more of that 8, kind of hanging around the box and really, showing his creative output. Kind of against Newcastle, we saw kind of Kyle Walker dominate that whole right side, which allowed either Foden or Alvarez, who was ever, kind of dedicated to the right, to move into a 10 position. So we had 2 number 10s, and Kovacic kind of, especially with Foden, pinging the ball in, and the Foden Kovacic combination, friendship on the pitch, it's going to be phenomenal. I think that's really something to watch for this season, where Foden is always asking for the ball. He's always asking for it anyway, even when he's not even in the best positions. He always wants the ball, and Kovacic is very willing to give it to him, and understands already that Foden can get himself out of pretty much any situation, so he's happy to kind of play him in. And we've already seen some really, really kind of clever and attractive play between those two, and I think they're going to form a very good footballing relationship during the season. But as I said, we've already seen that, and we've already seen something blossoming between those two. So to bring Eze in, who will be the player probably more getting the key passes and the assists rather than the kind of second assists or starting the play anyway, would kind of disrupt things slightly. But once again, I'm saying this like it wouldn't work. Eze wouldn't work. Of course he would work under Pep Guardiola. Pretty much any player, in his kind of mould would work under Pep Guardiola. But I just see something with the Foden relationship that I'm getting quite excited about. So hence why I'm kind of putting in to want him would be too greedy of Manchester City in this case. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is out for 4 months. Minimum, and obviously it'll take some time for him to get back into good form. And yes, Eze would be great to kind of fill that attacking output, but this could be the time for Foden. This could be the time for Alvarez to really kind of, form that kind of partnership, or at least kind of put up the numbers lacking from Kevin De Bruyne attackingly. So this is why I think, as much as I would love Eze to come, I would be extremely happy for him to come. £80 million, a little bit expensive for me. Obviously, we've been doing business very differently the last few years. We've been selling a lot of youth players, a lot of people for sensible money, and buying people at sensible money. Obviously, there are other fees included. Obviously, Haaland deal is massively exacerbated by agents' fees and stuff like this. But we have been doing business differently, and to spend 80 million when already you've spent quite a lot on Gvardiol, yeah, it would kind of go against that. And I put it down to Manchester City being a little bit greedy in the attacking sense, where Nunes seems a bit more sensible for me anyway. He's a player that, you know, very much similarly to Eze, is incredible at progressing the ball up the pitch, but where Eze excels in those kind of final third areas in the kind of creative numbers, Nunes doesn't really have that. So he's more of a physical presence. He's kind of brings it up from deep rather than kind of progressing it higher up the pitch. And I feel that he makes a bit more sense in terms of a backup Kevin De Bruyne, or to fill the void of Kevin De Bruyne in terms of progressing the ball up the pitch. He's a little bit cheaper, a little bit younger, which I was surprised at. I kind of, for some reason, just decided in my head that he was a bit older than he was. But I do feel this is a bit more of a sensible signing. But it's one of those ones where Eze or Nunes, they're just two players that will be filling parts of Kevin De Bruyne's play, where Kevin De Bruyne can do everything. He can progress from deep, he can progress high up the pitch, he can put the assists in, he can shoot, he can score. You know, he's got the XG, he's got the XA, he's got everything about him. You've got the kind of split between those attributes between these two players, where you've got the deep progression and the high progression. And I do think, because of the fact we've got Kovacic, Foden, Alvarez, players who will attack more, we do need a bit more of that deeper progression. So I think Nunes would make a sensible signing rather than Eze. But I would obviously be very happy with either of those players. Both incredibly greedy. Don't do it. That is mental to get both of those players in. I think that would be ludicrous, and just back to, you know, everyone going on, oh, we just buy the league. So yeah, Matheus Nunes come to City. Eze also come to City, just not both of them, but Nunes, because I think it fits better. I'm just fucking talking shit here. Nunes, for me, is a better fit at Manchester City than Eze, purely for the fact that the deep progression is lacking in that midfield rather than the attacking progression, which is kind of filled by Kovacic, Foden. I think that's my easiest way of summarising it. So that was my semi-short video on today's news. I don't think all my videos will be like this. I just wanted to get one out, get the ball rolling with this channel. I can imagine this video is pretty shit. I've already had to record it once, and for some reason my camera didn't record it. So this is the second time. I'm a little bit more pissed off than I was 20 minutes, half an hour ago. I forgot to turn the fan off, so if you've heard that, I'm sorry. It's all a fucking shambles, but welcome to the channel. If you did enjoy the video, leave it a like. If you do want to hear more stuff about Manchester City, football ramblings in general, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to tell me how much of a fool I am for not wanting Eze, or how much Matheus Nunes is not the player I think he is, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.